NT Show. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening, March the 5th, as we discuss some of the happenings around the sports world. B, man, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right.
Good, good. And well, before you, I also want to make sure I remind folks is if this is your first time listening to us, please like, please subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. We are 3 subscribers away from 100 subscribers, so we would very much like it if you could find 2 other people and yourself, or split yourself in 3 ways, or open 3 YouTube accounts and subscribe to us 3 times. Whatever you want to do, it's all good. But we want to try to get to 100. It's a milestone for us, so we appreciate you joining.
You
Oh
just
man.
find extra devices
Oh my
with random
god.
logins,
Just
please.
make it up. I don't care what you do. Oh man. All right. Well, oh man. Well, I want to first we'll start off with something. I want to kind of hand it over to B. Wants to share, to share something with us. B man, what's on your mind?
Yeah, man. It's you and I are close with a lot of things here, and a lot of tough things have happened this week. So I just want to give uh, condolences to my family. We lost our grandmother unexpectedly on Monday, the 27th here, and the crazy thing is, it's like 5 months to the day that we lost our other grandmother here. So, I just want to say enjoy your life. Tell the people you love that you love them, because you don't know when that time comes when you cannot say goodbye to that individual there. So, I just kind of wanted to give that little bit there and dedicate tonight's show to her. Just because no one got that chance to say that final goodbye. So, to my grandmother, this is for her.
All right. Awesome, man. All right. Well, again, thank you for sharing that with us. We like to, get personal every once in a while on the show, let y'all know, we're real people, and if there's somebody out there that could use or hear those words as some encouragement as be said, then hopefully we can help you out, help provide that. But to jump back into the world of sports, we're gonna start off with not just the NBA, but one particular player who's, I don't know, having a bit of a existential crisis here. Um,
He's having
he's
that
uh,
he's having that 23-year-old
he's
crisis right now.
his
Like, it
name
doesn't make
his
sense.
his name is John Morant, but I'm not sure. Maybe he's Ja Rule. It could be an identity crisis of the largest degree, folks. So let's start there. So Ja, if any everybody for folks who have not heard the news, Ja has been suspended for a couple of games due to not just one incident. However, that was the most recent one, but due to some other incidents that have really called his character into question. So I'll kind of start at the top a little bit. This most recent situation was after a loss to the Denver Nuggets, in which Ja put himself on his own Instagram live, um, brandishing a weapon. So, guys, if you're gonna commit crimes, do things that are a little suspicious. Don't do it. Don't videotape yourself doing it. But in any case,
Oh
so he
man.
was at a nightclub. Obviously, the NBA saw that, and for those of us who know about the NBA does not like stuff like that. They never have. It's been a long time. They always are trying to protect the image of their brand as well as other sports leagues. So of course, Ja, instead of being suspended or well, it's still a suspension, but Ja comes out and gives a statement about he's taking time away from the team to readjust. We all know it's a
Seek
suspension,
help.
guys. We all know it's a
He is seeking help.
yeah,
Come on.
exactly. We don't know exactly what he's seeing. So before I turn it over to you, I want to go over some other things that maybe folks are not aware of. So not only was it this situation, but previously, he allegedly got into a an altercation, we'll say, with a underage, 17-year-old kid who was playing basketball with him, and I guess the kid said something, made him upset, and again, somehow he threatens him and comes out with which was allegedly with a gun in his waistband, threatening this 17-year-old kid. And then of
Well,
course
and
he go ahead.
to add to that, it was you know how you do a check ball, because it was over a pickup game in his
Right?
own
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
The
yeah.
kid threw the ball supposedly in John Morant's face. And then John Morant landed, punched the kid 13 times.
Wow.
You punched the kid 13 times. Come on.
He should have hit him 4 more times. That would have been 17 for one for every year he was alive.
It wasn't his birthday.
So I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, but it's and then to top it off, there was a incident um, where he threatened Paul Blart, the mall cop,
God, the lead,
where
man.
he threatens a mall security officer, John Morant, beating up Top Flight. I don't know why. Let me and it's I don't know what's going on with this guy. And then I'm not even done yet. God, there's more of this.
There's more of this,
And then
man.
the situation with the Pacers where apparently some acquaintances of John Morant, were flashing a red laser at some of the Pacers players in an attempt to intimidate them. Although that was never really truly proven it was connected to him or that there was a weapon. It just overall, after all of the long list of crap we just went through, it doesn't look good.
Nah. And of course, his attorney, his lawyer is going to come out and defend him, saying that a lot of these allegations are unsustainable. Rumors and gossip are being put out by people to motivate to tear down Jaw and tarnish his reputation to their own financial gain. But the problem is this reputation is fitting everything that is going on around Ja Morant. It's
Right,
not hiding anything.
right.
Ja Morant has not. He's not. He's been a clean player, and then all of a sudden it's one report after the other, and then obviously Friday night was kind of icing on the cake for everything here. So
It's stupid, man.
let me ask you this, T.
So,
So given now what John Moran is doing by stepping away from the team, obviously taking days to get situated or to get seek help. What does the NBA need to do to really put a stronghold on this? Because this is their brand. This is the future of the NBA, and obviously they're going to have to send a statement. What do you see a punishment being for him now?
well, I think that they've already started with a little bit of a suspension, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the suspension is from the team. I'm not even sure if it's directly from the NBA, but
Yeah, that's just from the
yeah.
team itself.
So either way, he's going to serve a suspension. Now, I anticipate that he'll be out more than just 2 games. I think what's happening behind the scenes is there's probably going to be a little bit more due diligence and investigation to figure out how much of this is actually, is there an issue here? Is him having the weapon going to create some worse, worse situations where he has maybe there's a legal issue that's that could pop up. So I think the NBA just wants to get all the ducks in a row and figure out what actually did and what did not happen, especially around the gun thing on the IG Live, because
That was
if there is
awful.
any legal ramifications, then yeah, I think you could see Ja definitely in a situation where he's gonna lose a lot more time away from the game of basketball. But I don't know if the league comes down extremely hard on. I think they're going to definitely have him jump through a few hoops before he comes back. At least I would hope that's what they would do. Because they do need to understand exactly what's going on with them. If you remember, whenever Kyrie Irving went through the whole thing with the Twitter like or whatever he did for that movie or whatever, he had to do quite a few backflips before he could get into the league. So I would hope that the league would make sure that John Morant has one, going to see some type of therapist, is doing some type of community service, is saying something to young men about, especially we're talking about, this is a young African American man, about that lifestyle and where that leads, because he is not a part of that lifestyle. He is an NBA millionaire. So for him being a person that's other kids look up to, all this, and I'm not saying that kids should be looking up to basketball players, but at the same time, it does come with a little bit of responsibility. Now he is only 23, and so he will make mistakes, but I think the league should make him jump through a few hurdles before he comes back. Because the other questions are going to be is, well, where did you get the gun from? Do you have a license to carry this gun? Do you have a license to carry this
Yep.
gun in the state of Denver as opposed to the state of, because these are the type of things that get folks caught up in legal issues. So yeah, I think the NBA is waiting to see what's going to happen. But yeah, they should definitely have him jump through a few hoops before he gets back on the court to shoot a few hoops.
Here's my problem with all of this here. The Memphis Grizzlies were on the road in Denver.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
How did that gun travel with him?
those are the type of questions I'm talking about. That's exactly right.
Exactly, but that is part of the bigger question here is, the last person to even have a gun in the locker room, if no one remembers, is Gilbert
Javaris,
Arenas.
Crinton, and Gilbert Arenas. That's correct.
Yeah,
I believe
Gilbert
it was
Arenas
a
was playing
dice game, or it was some crap, some
and pulled a
gambling.
gun out.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I honestly, the league only has the rest of the month of March left. There's only, I think, three to a whole month left in the season. I think they need to suspend him for the rest of the month here, and just I mean, it sends a message saying, hey, until, and like you said, he's got to complete who knows what kind of obstacles to get through
Yeah.
in order to see the court again. But you really can't have a guy, being on the court after literally showing holding a weapon, and potentially it could have went off at any time. Now, granted, he was holding it like this, but you don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of things that could, a lot of what ifs in this scenario.
Yeah.
But the problem is there was a gun involved, and that's the bottom line here. Is at at a guy his age at 23, it's got to be just focused on basketball kind of thing. Your team's not in a position to be, partying like the way it is when you guys haven't won anything and you guys claim to be the next dynasty of what? Of just problems?
Exactly.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like
I don't know.
it's just it's a team of problems right now.
Yeah.
And we talked about it last week where there is no senior leadership to corral this. There
Right.
is zero of that. The oldest player on that team is 27 years old, and he's not a vocal leader.
Yeah. Steven
You know
Adams.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so there's also the report and a lot of talk of Ja Morant painting the image of being a fake gangster.
Right.
Everyone is coming out and saying it right now. I think Shannon Sharp is kind of the lead honcho on this
Yeah.
here. The NBA Countdown had Eddie House
Oh.
on there,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about that's not his lifestyle,
Right.
and when Ja Morant broke out in the league, there was nothing of him being someone who grew up in a tough
No.
situation in a tough
No. He
neighborhood.
doesn't come
He
from
went
that.
to he went to Crestwood High School in South Carolina, and I had to do some research on myself. It's a pretty damn nice high school that he went to there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it, you know, how do you see this image that he's painting right now with everything that goes on? What is that image to you that you can see?
Well, it's like 50 Cent said, right? You say you're a gangster, but you never shot nothing. So it's that kind of
That's a
idea.
good one.
It's that kind of
Yeah.
idea of maybe he's hanging out with a lot of people that are promoting this type of lifestyle. You know, maybe he's hanging around a lot of rappers or people. I don't know, but yeah, when you're in the NBA, the truth be told, like you're a basketball player. You make millions of dollars. Most people who grew up in those areas, they struggle to find a way to get out. Ja's trying to get back in. And I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. And so I
No.
think he needs to figure out what his intentions are as a human being, and grow up, because at this point this is the kind of childish stuff where you got this kid who's already has a lot, and he's trying to impersonate these rappers or crap that he sees on TV or whatever it is. But it's not the way he was raised. It's not how he grew up. It just his father's in all of his games in the front row, folks. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know where it stems from, and the type of image he's portraying for the most part in the NBA has died if you think about it. Like, you remember there was a time where it was like, yeah, there was a lot of intertwining between, and there still is to this day, intertwined between rap and
Yep.
hip hop and all that, and there still is, but the styles and the way that hip hop has portrayed itself, all these different things have changed over time. So, NBA players out brandishing weapons and getting shot or shooting at people. I mean, that's not something that's really happening in the league per se, right? As far as from what I know, and there haven't been many incidents like that in the league overall in quite some time. So I don't know what he's trying to do, but yeah, he is sort of. It's like he's trying to pretend to be masterpiece circa 1999, and it's like I don't understand why are we going back and not Matt. I mean, Master P probably not the best example. I like Master P, he's cool, but the
Yeah.
basically somebody who's come up from a very rough environment, and has pushed themselves up, but along the way has maybe done some things that are not quite legal. And I'm saying that John Moran is not that guy, and he shouldn't pretend to be that person because, I mean, for what?
Look where it's getting him
Yeah, I
trying to
mean,
portray that lifestyle, and it's not a good image here.
yeah. What do you need
I,
street cred for? Like, I mean,
exactly.
you,
What
you play basketball, man. Like, just go play
you make him
basketball.
you're making millions playing a children's game, and that's what it
Yeah,
is because we all grew up as children playing a sport at
yeah,
one point. There, you're just getting paid millions of dollars because you just happen to be really good at what you do. The thing is I think it's the people that he's surrounding him with as
yeah.
well. I'm gonna use I use LeBron as the perfect example. LeBron broke into the league at 18,
Right.
but the people around him made sure he stayed on track as he progressed into that stardom. He wasn't running around with no knuckleheads. You
No.
know what I'm saying? And like you said, he's one of the cleanest players to have all that pressure put on him and to almost get out of the NBA with almost zero, like a
Blemishes.
zero
Yeah.
negative report on
Yeah.
him. You know,
Yeah.
you you got to look up to those guys there, and that's the problem with the people that he's running with is these people aren't going to look out for him for the long future. They're here now
Yeah.
because he now is going to go from making $9 million this year to over $20 million next year.
Right.
So he's the breadwinner amongst everyone here. So you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now these people are only concerned about the money that they could get from John Morant instead of it being the other way around. Is how do we protect him to make sure that he is going to be on that right track there?
Yeah.
And it comes off the heels of signing the big contract with the Grizzlies, that extension.
Mhm.
He's the 23rd player in NBA history to ever get a shoe deal. That
Yeah.
is very elite company for the amount of talent that comes through this league. For you to be the 23rd player, and that's through any shoe company there to get your own signature shoe. That is a big thing there because now a company like Nike is taking a risk on you, just like they've taken a risk on everyone else and saying, "Hey, you're gonna help with our product here. You are the face of our organization now." Nike is all about their athletes.
Yeah.
Look at Kyrie Irving, clear example. All
Yeah.
he did was like a post on a movie that he watched, and it ended his
If he
contract
watched
with
it, I don't
Nike.
even. Right.
I,
Exactly. Right.
like this doesn't make sense. And then on top of that, Powerade just
Right.
signed him
Yeah.
to be the face of the organization as well.
Right.
He's signing all of these lucrative deals, and which you think that lifestyle that you're trying to portray is gonna help you maintain it. It's not.
No.
Look at Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson, straight from the hood.
Yeah.
He wasn't signing no deals. He
No.
wasn't doing any of that. So
Right.
why are you trying to portray that there on, this gangster image? But you're here signing all these deals to be the face of to be the face of companies that are going to trust you with their branding. And now
Yeah.
they can't trust them.
Yeah. And let's get caught up on the chat a little bit before we jump back in. We got Alex chiming in with just take his bullets away. Alex, I'd be surprised if there were any bullets in the gun. To be quite honest with you. And
I mean,
then
who knows? It could have been
yeah,
fake, but it's still.
it's still stupid. Yeah. And then we got Josh Wu Tang. Josh coming in. Yeah, remember when we just talked about that, Josh, when Gilbert Arenas pulled the gun in the locker room. Yep, with Javaris Crittenton. Yep, I remember. It was a huge deal, and someone almost got shot. So yeah, that was crazy.
Exactly. And
Um,
that was over a dice game
yeah, I don't know,
of all
gambling crap.
things.
Oh my god. But yeah, man, I want to go back to that thing what you're talking about with the entourage, and I mean, truth be told, you know, it feels like such an old thing. I don't. I know guys have entourages; they have folks that are around them, but we rarely see the Deion Sanders type, MC Hammer type entourages anymore, where the guys walk around with a ton of people around them, and I'm just, I would hope that Morant has both his parents in his ear talking to him, letting him know that, hey man, like these people around you, ever since you got all this money, you start. I mean, and I'm sounding like this is like a rap verse I'm getting right now. Ever since you got this money, you started acting different, and that's kind of what we're
Yeah,
seeing with John Morant. Like he signed that big contract, and now all of a sudden, I don't know if it went to his head or the extra money brought more people, and they start bolstering his ego, and it just kind of fed off from there. And I think that's like you said, be with the entourage. I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a guy who saw that hundred and something $1 million and immediately thought, man, I must be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then all of a sudden, more women show up, more entourage people or whatever you want to call them show up, and they start convincing you that you the man, when really what he needs to be doing is not spending his money before he gets it, because he hasn't even gotten to that contract year yet,
yeah,
and not as well as the deal with Nike and Powerade. He's just doing things the incorrect way. This speaks volumes, I think, to the Grizzlies as a team. It's a lot of the characteristics we see from Ja aren't that much different from the way that they play on the basketball court. They do a lot of this. They do a lot of
yep.
talking, a lot of showiness, and then a lot of backhanded crap with the stuff that Dylan, what's his name, Dylan Brooks does with the kicking and flailing and
Punching in the nuts and
cutting,
all that
yeah,
other
hitting
stuff.
Donovan Mitchell and all this. So this is the type of behavior that is coming from their quote unquote leader, and that's why I think all of this makes absolute sense to me. So I think if he needs to look in the mirror and figure out what he wants to do before all of his options are taken away from him, and he can very easily be pushed out of the league if it continues. I mean, it's happened to other guys, so he wouldn't
Yep.
be the first.
Let,
So
let me. I'm going to bring this up, and it could cause a little bit of headway. But where's his dad in all this? His dad's
yeah,
sitting
I
courtside
don't
in all
know,
this. You
man.
think you think his dad would at least have a hand in saying, "Dude, what are you doing?"
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
see his relationship with his dad, and it looks like his best friend, which is cool and everything. Like my dad is my best friend as well.
yeah,
But at the same time, when it's time to be a dad, it's time to be a dad. You gotta get your son back on the right track
yeah,
here. And I'm not saying he's doing a bad job of it because he's to where he's at now.
right,
But you don't stop being a dad just because he's now an adult making all this money. He has the potential to bring home $300 million before the age of 25
right, yeah,
through the shoe deal, through the Powerade, through all this sponsorship, including that ridiculous ass contract he's getting. Dude, the as Tony Montana says, the world is yours,
right,
and that this world was about to be his until Friday.
yeah.
And now, how do you recover this image now? Is the bigger part. Once this is all said and done, where do you go to get this fixed up here?
Yeah, he's gonna be on an apology tour. That's what's gonna happen, and You know, and like I said, it's the same thing that happened to Gilbert Arenas. I mean, Gilbert Arenas was pretty much pushed out of the league, at,
Yep.
at one point. So I mean, he has to understand that he's just being a young man. He thinks he's invincible, and this hopefully will teach him that he's not. I don't know what conversations his mom or parents have had with him off camera, because maybe they have been
We're never
talking
gonna
to him,
know.
but
Yeah.
he's a grown man. It's on him to make his own choices, and if he keeps going this way, well, I mean, what's going to happen next? That gun goes off, or you get pissed, you get upset about something, and something. Either you end up shooting at someone, or shooting someone, or they shoot at you, or whatever the case may be. Um, it's either a casket or a jail cell. I mean, there's not a lot of options. So I just think he needs to smarten it up. and get together. And yeah, and outside of his parents, because I don't know, young men don't really listen to anybody half the time, especially if they got $100 million. Really, probably don't listen. But if you look around the league, I mean, yeah, you're like there's a lot of great examples, like you mentioned LeBron, but you've also got Steph Curry. You've got great play. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the best stories the league has ever seen. There's some really
Yeah,
good guys that are in positions where they've taken things and made something out of nothing. And so for Ja, who grew up in an okay neighborhood and went to a really nice school, and for him to want to retreat into this type of behavior is kind of stupid, man. I don't know what's going on.
it,
He's I don't
it's
know who he hang. It's like he's hanging out with. It's like he's hanging out with the NBA players from the '90s or something. Like I don't know what is happening,
the
John.
early 2000s where
Exactly.
NBA players
Yeah. Like
were
what?
portraying rappers and the rappers were portraying NBA players
Yeah.
here.
It's like what is going
Um,
on?
let's get a little caught up here. Steve says, "Keep up the work, lads." Hey, man, Steve,
Thank
good to
you.
see you. I can't wait to see you on Tuesday, man. Mom, my mom says hello. She's literally right behind these walls
What's
here,
up, Mama
painting
Birdie?
painting the shelf. And Rachel is really digging your hair right now, Taj.
Yeah. No, I don't think she's digging it. I think she's making fun of it, but that's okay.
And she
It's.
could be taking a jab at it as well.
Well, I'm gonna cut it soon. I'm getting it cut on Tuesday, so enjoy
But
it. I'll take a picture and send it to you, Rachel.
you and I have talked about this even before we started this journey that we're on now. Is that how all NBA players really need to do is just stay on a straight path for a minimum of 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It sounds easy for us to say, but they have the resources, they have the tools to sit there um, and get on the guidance path here. And some of these athletes choose not to take it, and this is kind of the product that you see here. Now, I think that also what the NBA needs to do is really take a look into helping these guys stay on that straight path there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got to be something that's done because you don't want this to be a continuous thing. And not saying that it is, but it also have the potential of being that route where the NBA is all about their players, and it's the only sport that really allows their players a really large freedom to do what they want because that's what you want from your players.
Right.
But at the same time, if they clamp down on it, you're going to see a shortened window of what players can do to allow that freedom. What Ja Morant done is literally just butchered that freedom for a lot of NBA players here. Um,
Yeah.
in regards to that, and this year's social media, this day in social media, you cannot do anything without finding yourself on the internet, and especially why would you go live with this? Like that's what blows my mind is why did you need to go live at 5 o'clock in the morning showing what you're doing, no shirt in the club, your logo is clearly seeing that it's you, and then you go holding the gun. Like it's just terrible.
Yeah, man. It is terrible. I hope the young man gets the help that he needs because this path it doesn't go anywhere, man. He's just wasting time, and he'll be out of the league in less than 5 years, and we'll never remember who John Morant was. So hopefully, if he wants to be a gangster, he can go do that, but he won't be able to do that and play basketball. So
Nah.
hopefully, he figures out which
Um,
one he wants to do.
so Rachel says you said you were going to cut your hair 3 podcasts ago.
Oh no, I have to. I have to this time because I'm going to Houston on Wednesday. I'm going to Houston Wednesday for work, so I gotta shape it up. Rachel, what I mean, Rachel, do you want some of my hair? Like, what's the big deal? Why are you so mad at my hair for? Is it that
Hey,
bad? Good grief!
you have a young listener by the name of Kane. Shout out for making the honor roll. Kane, if you're
Honor
watching,
roll. There you go.
congratulations on making the honor roll.
That's who John Morant should be looking up to. Kane,
Kane,
make the honor roll.
absolutely
That's
here.
what I'm talking about.
Kane, if you have any advice for Ja Morant, drop it in the
Please.
comment section. Hopefully, since he's not going to be playing basketball for the next weeks, to say he can he could take some advice. Rachel says just never seen it that long. I ain't mad at it.
Oh man, Rachel, I would say about 17 years ago. I'm old. I
Damn,
was.
man, 17 years ago we were working at AIG.
Dude, yeah, man. Well, I think before that, my hair was so big that I used to work for Starbucks, and the hat would just sit
Yeah.
right here. So I met my wife. But yeah, it's been longer, but I can't do that anymore. I work in. I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I got to keep it cut down.
Here's the final point we're gonna make on John Morant, and we'll move on to the rest of the NBA. Here is the NBA. You see a transition of when talent comes and talent goes. The
Yeah,
NBA is getting ready to say goodbye to some key players. Remember when we had Tim Duncan go, we
yeah,
had Kobe Bryant
yeah,
go. There was a lot of good players that left within a 2 to 3 year span of each other.
yeah,
Well, Steph Curry's about to say, in
yeah.
all honesty, there's 3 years left before we say goodbye to Steph Curry. There's
Bron,
3 years left,
Curry,
but
Chris
who else are we
Paul.
missing? Chris Paul. I mean, he was all right.
Well, he's a Hall of
I'm
Fame
joking.
point
I'm joking.
guard.
I'm
Okay,
taking that away
come
from
on.
him.
Um,
Um, Chris
try.
Paul. Um, these are the
Melo's
staples.
gone. He hasn't officially retired yet, but for all intents and purposes, Melo's gone.
And now look at the young talent that we have in the league now. Watching this game right now, there's Jason Tatum, there's Jaylen Brown, there's Julius Randle, um,
Giannis
you know,
Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is probably going to be the face of the league now. But Ja Morant had he had that opportunity to be that up in line. Hey, the league is now yours. It gets passed down from generation to generation. Kobe and Tim Duncan handed it to Curry and LeBron. Well, honestly, we didn't expect Curry to be the face of the league, but here he is now.
Hey,
And all of a sudden, and now they're getting ready to pass these rings down to Giannis and the rest of the town. And John Morant's name was in that conversation. It's not the conversation anymore because you got a lot of making up to do after this weekend.
yeah, and the other reason is because let's just be perfectly clear. John Moran is not. He's not better than Tatum. He's not even. I don't. I don't think he's not better than Giannis. He's not better than LeBron. He's not better than Curry. He's not better than even Anthony Davis when he's healthy. I mean, he's not better than most of your top tier players in the league. He's a very talented player. He's an up and coming player, but so is Zach Levine. So is Andrew Wiggins. There's a lot of guys
Yeah,
you can name that had great talent and could jump out of the building. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make you the most specialist player in the world. What makes you special is being able to lead a team to wins. And so at the end of the day, I think Ja's going to find himself on the outside looking in because, man, you could talk that talk, you could jump as high as you want, but we know in 5, 10 years, you ain't going to be able to jump no more. And in another 5 years, if their team doesn't figure it out in the next 2 to 3 years, I almost put money on it. The guys that they have on the team now, they're gonna start getting traded. The only reason the Grizzlies are as good as they are now is because they sucked for long enough to get the draft picks that they have. If they continue to play at a high level but not do anything, or at least a mid-tier team for the next 2 to 3 years, they're not gonna have any young talent. He's gonna have to find another star to come play with him. Who else? I'm gonna go play with John Morant and what? Get shot? No, I don't think so. I mean, just being real. Like, it's not. That's the reality.
it's the truth
They
though.
either
It's
make the
100% the
they
truth.
either make this team work as constructed, or those guys like what's the Desmond Bain and maybe Dylan Brooks will stick around. Dylan Brooks will stick around since he got the same problem. And but some J what's his name, Jaren Jackson. Some of those guys may start to get traded off. They may start going other places. And
Yep.
that happens. That's what happens when you're not successful in that moment. So yeah, man, I don't. He's gonna get a rude awakening. So I hope he figures it out quickly before everything else crumbles around him.
Absolutely. And let's get a little caught up in the chat here. Alex says there are a lot of people, great sports talk peeps that have no hair. Appreciate the comment. You can read JJ's comment. I'm not going to mention it today.
Oh man, come on,
Um,
What's up, JJ? Yes, that's right. We will talk about it soon, but yes, the Lakers were
oh
playing
God.
today. We won't even. So we'll just leave it at that until we get to that subject.
Rachel says Ja can't handle the big stage. I think all this
Yeah.
fame got to his head, and she's 100%
Yeah,
right with that. There,
absolutely.
Curry, LeBron, or any other high caliber players acting would not act out like that. And you're right. You haven't seen that. The NBA finally had two superstars that didn't have anything negative going on
Right.
through their entire careers here. The only thing that Curry had negativity going on, and it didn't even involve him, was his parents
Oh,
going
that's his
through a
mama.
divorce.
That's his mama fault. No, I'm just playing. I'm just
Exactly.
playing.
That had nothing to do with him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well,
But
yeah, yeah, and then there was the whole thing with his wife, but it wasn't anything crazy, it wasn't anything that we really had the business knowing anyway, and it isn't something that we could put on Curry himself. You know what I mean? So
right.
yeah. Otherwise, he's had a squeaky clean, drive through the NBA. So good for him.
The word gun would scare the crap out of Curry. That's a good
uh,
one. But let's talk about those other Grizzlies here because they are. Curry's biggest problem was whether Aisha can cook.
hey,
She
she
can
figured
cook.
she
She's
figured
got
it
her own
out.
restaurant in the Bay
Yeah, she
Area.
figured it out. She got her own pans and everything, right? Don't she got some cooking wares? I don't know, man.
Well, let's talk about this here because the Grizzlies not only before John Morant put his name on the weekend here, Dylan Brooks was interviewed here and he had a lot to say about the NBA and some of the players there. And for a team that hasn't shown us anything, they've got a lot to say here.
I
Dylan
mean,
Brooks came out and said that he doesn't like Draymond Green. He is the player on who he is, to say the least here, which isn't a very good basketball player. Let's just put it like that.
so,
I mean,
you're a
I'm
role
not a good
player, my
basketball player,
man.
but
He's a role player. Yeah.
you're a G League role player. Let's put it like that. There, you are nothing here. I've not even seen him break 20 points a game. Let's just be honest with that. There.
Yeah.
Um, what do you see in this Memphis Grizzlies team? You kind of hinted on it a little
Yeah.
bit as you may start seeing
Yeah.
players getting traded, but when you hear these kind of comments from a team that even hasn't sniffed the conference finals, how does that make you feel as an NBA fan? Because now I hate every single Memphis Grizzlies fan.
No, I mean, I think it speaks to what I talked about and what we talked about in the last show and what we've been talking about this whole time, which is immaturity. You talked about it earlier with there's no veteran leadership on the team, and there are a lot of young players on this team, rightfully so. They were drafted by the Grizzlies, and they're all young, and they think they've achieved something because they were able to make it to the playoffs a few times, and they're just feeling themselves a little too much, and that's what Dylan Brooks is doing. I mean, he's mad. Maybe he's mad because he feel like he's being villainized or whatever. But at the end of the day, um, they haven't accomplished anything. They've been a good young
Nothing.
team. The Celtics have a good young team, but they went to the finals, you know, and
And
so
they took the Warriors
yeah,
pretty far
yeah,
too.
yeah, and their youth kept them from getting over the hump of beating the Warriors. So everybody has to go through these stepping stones in order to get ultimately to the prize. The Memphis Grizzlies haven't gotten past the part of figuring out how to keep and hold each other accountable and how to maturely get through an entire NBA season. So they're not even in the conversation because just like Rachel said earlier, all of this immaturity and stuff, it bleeds into everything. We're talking about Durant. We talking about Morant's got problems. Dylan Brooks doing too much. And then you start talking about when they get to the playoffs, they fold under pressure. All of that is immaturity, man. I mean, all of it stems from
Yep.
the same thing. So if they have to figure out a way to not be so concerned with what everybody is thinking or seeing or looking at them, and they need to be more worried about what is the best version of myself and this team we can create. And that's what they're not doing. They're too busy worried about, oh well, my perception, how I'm being perceived, or I need to come across as this, that, and that. And it's just like, dude, nobody cares, man. Like, you either win or you don't. It's a very simple league, and you guys aren't necessarily winning. You're doing a lot of talking, but you're not winning. And now you're gonna slide on down the West, because here
Yeah.
comes Durant, here comes Kyrie. All these other teams are gonna go. And how did you even have the gall to say any of this when the top team in the West is the Denver Nuggets? You mean you were that good and you couldn't even find a way to be number one this season? This one
Exactly.
season where you could have just blew the whole West out of the water because everybody else sucks. Everybody's got 30 plus losses right now. Everybody. So how could you
And
possibly think you got that much going for you whenever you're third? I mean, come on, second or third. I mean, it's
is
laughable.
the comments
It's
of like John
laughable.
Morant going, "I'm good in the West." Like you've never made it through the West. You know how you say you're good in the West is when you represent the West in or represent the West in the NBA Finals.
It,
You haven't represented anyone in that. Let's get a little caught up here. JJ says AD and
B, why you
Vanderbilt.
so
Woo woo
mad
woo.
at?
Yeah
They're
yeah
so
yeah.
mad at the Lakers, man. But yes, great game by AD. Vanderbilt is like a Swiss Army knife out there on the floor, doing everything. We will jump and we will talk in depthly about
Yeah,
that
we'll talk about
before
that.
B hurls all over his camera. So
I'm about to hurl right now every time I have to mention a Laker. Draymond is a hard pill to swallow for some fans, but I guarantee his name will be remembered in the league for ages to
yeah,
come. 4 rings, his basketball IQ is insane. The only way Dylan Brooks is going to be remembered is breaking Gary Payton Jr.'s arm, hitting Donovan Mitchell in the nuts, starting stuff with Shannon Sharp. Like, why are you so engaged with a fan like that? I get it. You could probably hear Shannon Sharp from a mile away, but why are you engaging with it there? This is what cracks me up. Now, Draymond is a 4-time NBA champion, 7-time All Defensive Team, first, second, or third doesn't matter. You're still 7-time All Defensive Team, Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All Star. Dylan Brooks be uh, I would really love to cuss right now, but he would really love to have those accolades right now if you want to have your name
he's. I
remembered.
mean,
Draymond is one of the smartest guys out there too. He makes the offense go. He knows where Curry's going to be at all times. He knows where every player is going to be on the floor to keep that offense moving there. Dylan Brooks, you what do you remember for? What
nothing, nothing.
what can you hang your hat on?
Extremely tight braids. I mean, look, the end of the day, role players are only remembered when they do big things at big moments. We all know that. I'm a Laker fan, so I could, Robert Ory, Derek Fisher. I mean, these are guys that if you're a Laker fan, you're thinking, man, that's my dude. If you're a Warriors fan, you're thinking of guys like Andre Iguodala, guys who aren't necessarily Hall of Famers, but they were role players that did a lot for your team in big moments. Those are the only role players we remember, bro. I mean, so you're
Yeah.
not a star. Like, know your role and play that role. We don't need you to. You don't have to be bigger or better than anybody. You just need to be the best Dylan Brooks you can be. You don't need to be.
We don't even know what that
We
is.
don't.
That's the
Well, he
funny
doesn't
part.
either, apparently, because he's comparing himself. Talking about how he doesn't like Draymond is like 10 years your elder, my friend. Like, he's been in the league for way longer than you have. You know what I mean? Like,
If he wanted to, why don't you learn it? Why don't you learn a few things from him?
you
They
should.
may not be good,
You should.
but guess what? They work.
Because, in my opinion, that's probably the best suited basketball player he can fashion himself after. Draymond has always played
Yeah.
with the edge. He's always played extremely fast. He's done some questionable things, but he's a Hall of Famer and he's contributed to his team. And I'm not talking about Snapchat either. He's contributed to his team time and time and time again. And so Dylan Brooks should, instead of hating on Draymond, he need to try to be more like Draymond. How about that?
And you know what I'm saying? That's not something we would say that often, but
No,
guess
but
what? It's 100%
so,
true. You know what I'm saying? NorCal Sports Cards, what's up, fam? Hope you're doing well, man. I gotta get into that break that he's got going on. For those who don't know, go check out NorCal Sports Cards on TikTok. He has a massive break going on. You can find yourself getting into a $7,000 break with an $8 duck. I'll put it like that. And now Rachel's trying to sell her cards on our page. I got a 1 out of 10 Barry Sanders Gold Mosaic for $200.
oh man, oh man.
All right. Well, let's get around the NBA here and let's talk a little bit about what kind of top games were. Now, obviously, it was the Nuggets beating the Grizzlies. It was a 1 versus 2 matchup,
Yep,
to say the least.
yep.
And this was the Grizzlies' chance to make a statement in this realm here to trying to establish that top dog mentality. And they absolutely dropped the ball, getting the break speed off of them, 113-97 here. The Joker, dude, I feel like he's just a walking
He's a
triple double now,
machine.
dude.
He's a
And if
machine.
anyone hasn't had a chance to watch him play, one of the skilled big men this game has ever seen here.
Yeah.
because he can also do things down in the paint as a traditional big man does. But what is separating his game is when's the last big man you've seen had a fadeaway like his,
Yeah,
or who can
yeah.
stretch out and hit a
Well,
three in
he's
transition?
shooting the ball from the
He
top of his head. Nobody's gonna block that, man. I mean, it's
he
almost
barely
unfair. He
jumps.
doesn't even exactly. That's the other thing. He can't jump over a quarter, but he's getting it done, man. I feel like him and Luka Doncic are a similar player. It's just that one of them one of them is really really big, and plays closer to the paint. We're just talking about guys who are multifaceted, able to distribute the ball, able to set up their offense. Him doing that from the center position is even more incredible. And they
Yep.
almost have to not give him the MVP every year because he single handedly has made the Denver Nuggets one of the best teams in the West for the past 5 years. And it's unfortunate he plays in Denver because nobody watches their games. Nobody's paying
And it's not a
attention.
big market.
Yeah, it's not a
It's
big
not a big
market.
market either.
Murray's been off and on. He's sometimes he's injured, sometimes he plays. They have a fairly good amount of talent there, but there's nothing outside of Jokic that jumps off the paper. So kudos to that guy for carrying his team on his back. The unfortunate truth, though, is every time they get to the playoffs, they need more, and he needs another A1 guy. I would have loved to have them. I would have loved them to have been more influential in the trade market. They would have been
Yeah.
the team that I would have said should have went for Kyrie. That they would have been the team that should have been looking for. Well, it's just those guys don't want to play there, but in Denver. But you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, they if they could have added one more really good scoring player or good quality player to that squad, I think that would really propel their team forward into being able to play in the finals. And although, and we still got time, so maybe they will get there. I don't know.
Well, what Denver's doing right now, and I'm going to compare it to the Warriors' first championship season, was prior to that, the Warriors were making that transition into getting into the playoffs on a consistent level there.
Yeah.
They just didn't realize how good they were until that 2014-2015 season here. You're kind of seeing that with Denver now, but you can't go backwards. You lost in the first round last year. It's got to be the NBA Finals for Denver this year, or it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of that, because you can have great regular seasons and you can get into the playoffs, but you got to see growth. You have to see your team going forward. You cannot just get stuck in one round and then be okay with that. It really doesn't work like
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't, and they're not going to waste a lot of Jokic's years dealing with. They've got a lot of nice young talent. They believe me, they can trade it.
Oh, 100% to bring in that opportunity to win.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And then let's talk about the East, because the East has strictly got 4 teams with over 40 wins, and they're going to have 5 if Brooklyn can get their act together. The 76ers came back and beat the Bucks on the road,
James
133 to 130. James Harden starting to kind of
yeah.
take the form of the old James Harden
He's looking like
of the
James
Houston
Harden.
Rockets.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I think that's what Brooklyn was hoping for. They never.
So I got to point out the play of the game on that, and this is what I mean by you really don't know how guys perform at the top level. We got talking about the childish Grizzlies. There was a play where Giannis took the ball directly into Embiid's chest, knocked him to the ground, and laid the ball up in for an and one. This was a really good game. I mean, these guys were going back and forward. You were seeing some really great plays from Harden. Harden had the step back going. He had the 3 going. He was getting to the foul line. He had the little ugly left hand floaty thing, whatever that is. He had that going too. And for most of the game, Milwaukee had been giving them the business. But they made a great run, got themselves in the game, and Harden and Embiid were able to hold it down, especially Harden. Was able to really help them finish that game and win. So kudos for him for finally getting into. I don't know if it's just he wasn't in shape. I don't know if it's just because he was trying to get acclimated to Tobias Harris, Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. I mean, you got a lot of guys that can shoot the ball on that team, but he has to know that he's the second best player on that team. Tobias and Maxey, they shouldn't be taking more shots. And when it comes to crunch time, you're talking about a guy that can get to the free throw line at whim. I mean, on a whim. So he's got to have the ball in his hand. So it was good to see him, look like himself because it was starting to feel like he was just going to fade away and we never seen James Harden again.
Well, and we talk about the Celtics starting to clamp down their defense as the season's coming to an end here.
Yeah.
It's gonna make good. It's gonna make a good playoff run when you have teams like them, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Celtics. And we'll wait for that 14 to kind of appear out in the East.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna be a really good. That's gonna be a challenging playoff run for
Oh,
every
the
single
East
every
is
single
gonna
one
be
of those teams there.
fun, man. It's gonna be
It's
fun.
it's gonna be a lot of fun. What's not fun anymore is watching teams blow 20-point leads here. I don't mind it. My Warriors came back all week pretty much. They were
Yeah.
down by 20 points all week at home. Came back and erased all those deficits and won. The Nets were the most recent team to come back on the Celtics
Yeah.
to beat them after being down by 23. And then obviously the other team from LA also
That's right.
gathered a 20-point lead. So
Against
let
the
me ask you
Mavs,
this.
yeah.
What do you see a 20-point lead now in the NBA? Is that now just a 5-point lead, with the amount of scoring that's taking place? Because I'm watching the game going to overtime right now. Now it's 117 to 116. New York, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The NBA is now transitioning to a much more offensive game than it was, kind of a mixture of both here. Is this kind of just the new wave of what we're seeing in the NBA of just 20-point leads just disappearing in a heartbeat?
Yeah, and you know what? You've got your own team to blame for it, bro. So, I mean, it's because of the 3-point shot. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. Guys take and guys take don't always make, but take a lot of 3-point shots. So I think that does two things. One is you end up in these big lulls where guys are taking 2 to 3 3-point shots on back-to-back possessions, and there are no points. And thus the other team creates a lead.
Oh my God.
And then all of a sudden, just like the Warriors, all of a sudden they get hot and they completely obliterate a 14, 20-point lead in 5 minutes because they get their 3-point shot going. So I really think it is the love and the admiration of the 3-point shot that helps create a lot of that. Because I gotta tell you, man, guys are taking a ton of threes, and it's I mean, fast breaks aren't fast breaks anymore, bro. 3-on-2 fast breaks. A 3-on-2 fast break is a 3-point shot. Seriously.
Hey, if you want to see a 1-on-4 fast break or a 1-on-5, go watch the Warriors play.
You mean watch Jordan Poole? You mean watch Jordan Poole play? Is what you're saying? Because
don't get me started on Jordan Poole,
Curry can take those, but
Jordan Poole, no.
Oh my God, no.
Well, anyways, JJ, I hope you're still staying on because now we can talk about.
I know, right? JJ's leaving. It's time to talk about the game today. A very special day because our teams played each other, and there was actually there was something on the line. Earlier in the season, it was just the Lakers trying to win a game or two. But there are some playoff implications surrounding this game. So let's start with the Lakers, and I'm gonna, of course, go on the smallest rant, or really more of a kudos. I gotta start by saying, I'm sorry, Rob Pelinka. I apologize. As the GM, the GM of the Lakers, when you traded for Russell Westbrook, and we went through that whole experiment last year, I mean, I wanted to throw up all the games. We watched Russell fire the ball off the backboard or throw layups on the bottom of the rim and throw the ball out of bounds. And I'm not trying to blame Russell for everything. It's not his fault. He wasn't in the right position, but gosh, it looks so bad. But the trade that they made, this is a great trade. The guys that they picked up, Vanderbilt has been awesome. D'Lo, when we get him back, hopefully at some point will be good. Beasley has been great for creating space. And the other guys that really didn't get a lot of opportunity to play have really shown up. Austin Reeves is coming into his own. Schroeder has always been a good backup point guard. And AD finally has both his legs and arms available for service.
Don't jinx it.
I know, right? Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Quickly.
So yeah, man, great. It was an awesome game. The Lakers needed it. We were missing Braun, obviously, who's been out with an injury. And let's start with that. So LeBron may not come back. I got to be honest. I saw him scooting around on that little scooter with that boot on, and I was thinking,
it's a lot serious.
Yeah, Braun.
Hell of a lot serious.
Yeah, Bron going to Cancun. That's the first thing I thought. And so I want to get your feedback on that. AD is receiving a lot of the pressure now, and for the last few games, it stepped up to the plate. I mean, what do you think is going to happen going forward here? I mean, do you think that can AD man the ship at least enough for them to get into the tournament?
Actually, I was going to ask you that question, but I'll give you my opinion. And it's no,
Oh,
because
like
AD doesn't have a track record of staying healthy to the end of the year. So until you see it, I don't believe it. To be honest with you, can AD really score 39 points a game for the rest of this year?
well,
That's what it boils down to. Because let's say take away 10 of those points away from AD, right?
yeah,
It doesn't beat the Warriors tonight
yeah,
or
no,
today. It
absolutely.
doesn't.
But that's why you have
So,
stars, though. I mean, they got to
but
show up.
you do. But for me, it's do 39 points a game. Is that going to get you into your playing tournament? Because that's all you guys are getting over to. So, is is LeBron's return even worth coming back for the playing tournament?
Well, it'll depend upon how they play, and so I think AD, if D'Angelo Russell comes back and can play, hopefully this coming Tuesday, I'm hoping to see him on the floor. I think the Lakers have a good chance of being in the play-in tournament. I mean, if you look at the standings, they're tied with the Jazz for the 10th place. It's not you don't have to do a lot. They just have to find a way to string together games. What's and the reason I say that they have that opportunity is because this team has played with so much more vigor and so much more effort and energy after the trade deadline. Before, when we were playing with Russell Westbrook, it took some type of monumental effort from LeBron James to carry the team, or we get some type of inconsistent contribution from different guys sparingly because we were a 500 under 500 ball club, so it's not like we were winning all the games. But now we're seeing a team
Mm-hmm.
that's competing every single night. Even in like that 27 point game against the Mavs, that would have never happened if they had not made that trade. If this was the same team with Russell West, no, they weren't gonna come, they wouldn't have come back. That would have never happened. So the amount of youth and energy that's been infused through this trade, this team is good enough to be in the play-in. And with other teams faltering and falling, keep in mind the Golden State Warriors have 31 losses. The Lakers have 34. So we're really only looking at a 3 to 4 game difference. And when you start to look at everybody in the middle, all of a sudden the Dallas and the Clippers are falling down. Now you got the Clippers in Dallas. They're in the 7th and 8th spot. New Orleans is
Yep.
hanging on by a thread. And the
Jesus.
Jazz, I don't even know why they're on. Well, I don't even know why they're here. They need to be losing games, not winning them. So yeah, absolutely. I think the Lakers make the tournament, man.
All right. Well, that is so. Is it worth LeBron coming back for the tournament? Because that's one
Yeah.
hell of a hill to climb
So
to
so
even just to make it.
if they make it into the tournament and you know everybody is feeling good, D'Angelo's feeling good, AD's feeling good, and there's a lot of positivity around that, then yeah, absolutely. I think LeBron will try to get back on the floor. If they possibly don't make it now, this is we have to keep in mind there's no for sure that Braun will come back. Braun's got to wait 2 weeks before they even reevaluate his foot anyway. So they may reevaluate
Yep.
his foot in 2 weeks and say, "Nah, sorry, dude, you're out for the season." We don't even know. But if the opportunity is there for him to come back and come back healthy, where he can play in the playoffs, then yeah, I think he'll definitely play. Just because the energy of this team, again, has been light years better than what we have seen. I mean, before the Lakers were. I mean, come on, guys, the Lakers were hot garbage. Let's not pull any punches here.
They're still
They were
hot garbage,
seven
but they're working.
games.
They're waking
Yeah,
or
dude, no,
they're working
no,
their
no,
way
no.
out of hot garbage to
I'm
garbage.
going to tell you right now, the way they've been playing over the past 5 games, if you look at these other teams, they're better than a lot of them that are there. They're better than, in my opinion, the Jazz, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Thunder, the Blazers. The Lakers
I
are
would
better than
agree with
those
that.
teams. So
I would
I'm,
agree
I'm,
with
I'm not
that.
saying we're better than the Durant Phoenix Suns. I'm not saying we're even better than the Warriors because if Curry starts to get healthy and your young players start to do anything but fumble the ball all over themselves, then you guys will have an opportunity, a chance. Even Sacramento, I don't know how good Sacramento truly is. So if the Lakers come in and they somehow get into that 7th spot, or they end up playing Sacramento in the first round, you telling me they can't beat they? I'm not saying they absolutely will. I'm just saying that the opportunity to beat one of these top 3 to 4 teams, it's there.
And the other thing you got to remember too is it doesn't. There's ever since they've introduced the playing tournament, teams don't make it out of teams who
Yeah,
win the playing tournament don't make it out of the first round.
yeah, because I got to
There's
play
just too
two
much
more
work being
games. Yeah,
involved. Yeah,
yeah,
you have the potential of having to play two extra games on top of a 7 game series just to get to the semis. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's
It's
dumb.
going to be
Honestly, I don't know.
well. Just don't find yourself in the playing tournament.
Yeah,
Plain and
that's what
simple.
it is. That's what it comes down to. So we'll see if I don't know if they could jump up to sixth. I mean, again, that depends a lot on how well they play. They do have a soft schedule after these next 2 to 3 games. They have a rough patch where they're going to play. Well, the Grizzlies are without Ja. But either way, they have to find a way to win that game. Then I think they got the Knicks and they got a few other good teams. So it's going to be tough for them this next few games. But after that, then they get cupcake team. So get D'Lo back healthy, and I think they'll make a nice little run for it. Because I got to be honest with you, I'm not that impressed with the Clippers, New Orleans, or the Jazz, even the Timberwolves, who are the 6th seed. I mean,
Oh
Big
no.
Cat's not even playing right now, so I mean, I really don't, I don't see why they can't make a run. They just got to get everybody back on the court. So, we're gonna talk about the Warriors.
Why?
Obviously today was not the best showing, although there was some positivity because Steph Curry's back on the court. He showed up. He had, I believe, what, 26,
27 today
27, excuse me. So he,
on a limit on a minutes restriction
yeah,
too.
came in and contributed right away. So he was definitely doing it, getting it done. Wow, Boston and the Knicks are still playing. Um,
Yep.
so
2 overtimes now. Jesus. But they're nowhere near the score of the
oh no, oh no, the Clippers and the Kings. No, that was 170. Oh man, yeah, there was no. So this game was a real testament to what the Lakers do as far as they're just playing hard, really, and they do a much better job of playing defense because they actually have players who can play defense. I think some of the Warriors' issues have been what's going
winning on the
on the
road.
road. Yes, so I'll start with that. B. We've been circling this mystery box and talking about it for quite some time. What is it? Is there something that what is there? Can you ask Steve
Yo,
Kerr why they don't win games on the road?
I don't even think Steve Kerr has the answer to why they can't win on the road. Dude, that 5 game winning streak was cute. And I didn't buy into it because it was all at home. It didn't involve the road until today. And now, granted, the problem is, dude, even during that 5 game winning streak at home, they were getting down by almost 20 points in every
Yeah,
single game
yeah,
and having to put in extra work just to take a lead. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And this is not the Warriors of it. It's something we have to adapt to, but you're not going to win every single game when getting down by 20 points.
Right.
It's not going to happen all the time. They got down big against the Lakers again, climbed all the way back, but they took the lead momentarily, but then gave it back up because they exerted all that energy to catch up from a 20-point deficit. Do they have the shooting to do it? Absolutely. That's the only team you would never question a 20-point lead against. But this isn't a recipe that's going to win you a championship.
Right.
The Warriors have an opportunity to even try to get into that 4 seed, but from what I see from the Suns right now, I don't think it's going to be catchable here. They just got to worry about holding on to that 5th seed at this point here because that Suns team is
Yeah, they're,
scary
they're
as
just
hell,
gonna be
man.
shooting. They can
Jesus.
score.
But they got to win on the road, man. Like
Yeah.
you okay, if you're not going to if you end up in the 5th seed, you're never getting a
Home court
a,
advantage. Yeah, you gotta play. You
home
gotta
court
play. You gotta win on
advantage.
the road.
So you have to find a way to win one on the road. Now, are they just saving themselves for the playoffs because they know once you get into the dance, it's what happens? But losing games on the road the way they're doing right now isn't the best way to try to take advantage of that situation. You have to show. I want to see a 3 game winning streak on the road. That's what I want to see. If I see it, then I can believe that the Warriors are back. Because then you're not worried about the home court because you know you can win games on at home. It's taking that one elusive game on the road in the playoffs that demoralizes the team that is hosting that game there. Because now they know they have to try to win 2 games at the Chase Center, which not
Right.
a lot of teams have been able to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to find a way to win to win on the road by any means necessary. But it doesn't mean coming back from 20 points every single time.
So, one thing that's been helping them stay afloat, especially that previous 5 game run, had a lot to do with yours truly, Clay Thompson, who has been resurgent and has been continuing to at least get closer back to the Clay that we all know and love. What do you think about one? Is Clay getting closer to the Clay that you remember? And two, I mean, is this enough? Is this Clay that we're seeing enough in order to get for
I,
you guys to make a deep postseason run?
I think what we're seeing from Clay now is what you're going to get from Clay for the rest of the season here. I don't think it changes outside of that. He's at his max potential offensively. I think he's better offensively than he was in years past, to be honest with you, because, dude, he is catching fire quicker than anyone else on that court there.
Right.
And it's been great to see. But where I think it's kind of slowed down is that defensive part there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen him get beat too many times in one-on-one
Well, y'all.
scenarios, and
Yeah.
that's what we're not accustomed to
Yeah.
seeing because Clay was that defender, and that's why they need Wiggins back to take that extra to take a little bit off that. Now, I'm not saying Clay's completely fallen off of the defensive side, but it's not the same Clay as 5 years ago when he was offensively and defensively the best player um, that the Warriors can rely on if Curry was having a bad day.
Yeah. And
So I think this is the best Klay Thompson we're going to see,
yeah.
and it just needs to be sustained. And then obviously when Curry gets his regular season game legs underneath him, you'll see you'll see a bit of it. But hey, did you see Andre Iguodala make an appearance on the
Yeah,
court
man. I
today?
was so confused. I was like, I haven't seen Iguodala play in a year. I mean, is this his first
No,
game this season? I haven't seen him play at all. And just to see
dude, I
him
think it's
out
like his
there,
third game.
yeah, and then he's caught out there trying to guard AD, and it was just stupid. Like I don't know what the game plan was around that, or what the attempt to what the hell, whatever they were trying to do. But he really needs to pick up a clipboard. I mean, is Kaminga that bad to where they have to,
Bro,
throw Iguodala out there to the wolves and ask him to defend
I think
guys?
Kaminga's playing just fine.
Yeah,
In all
I don't get it,
honesty,
man. I didn't understand that move at all, man. I don't know.
Black was that Black Vanguard? Iggy not the guy anymore, dude. He hasn't been the same since he came back to the Warriors. Even when they signed him back, he wasn't the same.
No, he
Put him
was
in a
he
wheelchair.
spent yeah, he was golfing. I think he spent most of his
Yeah,
time golfing. And I
but
just I don't understand what the intention was there. Maybe Kerr was trying to add a little bit more of veteran presence or something, or they thought
oh, go figure. Veteran
I
presence
know,
on a
right?
team of young people.
Iguodala hasn't had any switchability defensively for the better part of 3 to 5 years, and so
Dude,
asking him to switch and all that stuff, I just feel like that was a no go, man. That was not gonna work, man. Hey, but
I give this. I think Iggy plays 3 more games. He gets extremely tired. He's going to go back on the bench, and then
oh
he's
yeah,
just going to be a coach for the playoffs.
well,
That's how I see Iguodala's career kind of finishing out here.
let's just
And
say the ice bath is waiting.
whose career is finally coming to an end, and it should have ended maybe about 8 years ago. Was Haslam.
Wait,
He
who?
announced Udonis Haslam has now announced that he is going to be retiring after this year, which he should have retired after the third championship here.
That's pretty funny
Um,
because I thought he retired 10 years ago. He hasn't. When is he? He doesn't get no. He doesn't get any minutes, man. He's been an assistant coach for a while now. The last time I saw him was when they got in that fight. Remember when the Heat had that fight on the sideline and it was him and
oh,
against Jimmy, was it Jimmy Butler or somebody?
it was him and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like that. That's the most action Haslam has gotten in 10 years. Oh man.
Haslam reminds me of that old head that is at 24-hour fitness and just wants to try to find a way to get on the court. And then when he gets on there, he does a sprint up and down and just gets winded after that.
Exactly. I need a break. Oh man.
Um, Black Vanguard says I'm playing Warriors, still the defending champs, regardless of a win or loss. They will win games and make it happen, but it's a big win for the Lakers. I think it is a big win. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but you beat a team that has a hard time winning on the road. Like,
Yeah, but we
what the
need
hell,
those,
man?
we need the wins more than you do. I'll just put it like that. Just because you guys are ahead of us in the standings. The other thing I want to I'm gonna dig in on this because I want always I love your reactions. But did you see Austin Reeves? Did he just
Oh
not pop
god.
off the screen and drive you crazy? Did you not wonder where did this country bumpkin white dude come from and is out here trying to guard Curry, hitting threes? I mean, who is this guy?
Dude, I don't know what it is, but it's like, remember when Dellavedova entered the NBA Finals and they all thought he was the Curry stopper?
Oh well, no, I didn't say that.
why why is it like this all the damn time for?
Well, first
Is
off,
that when one
Dellavedova couldn't shoot. Let's start there, okay?
Austin Reeves is not that great of a shooter
No, no,
either.
sir. Excuse me. He's been shooting at a pretty high clip the past 5 to 10 games. I mean, the dude doesn't take that many shots. Let's start there. But I mean, he had a nice rounded game. He scored 16 points. He shot 55% for the field, 60% for the 3 point line, uh, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, he's just the guy you throw in the middle that can do a lot of things for it. He handles the ball a lot. He's the last living white guy that can handle the ball a lot. Seriously, think about it. Just stop and think for a minute. And I'm not trying to
No, I don't
piss
want to
anybody
think
off,
about that, man.
but there are very few. I mean, it's just him and Jokic and Doncic, and neither one of those guys is from America. So I mean, so I got to give the man props. The other guy I've got to point out that really jumps off the screen is Jared Vanderbilt, and he's the type of guy where he's not being asked to really shoot. His only job is to be as disruptive as possible defensively, get rebounds and putbacks, and he does that to a T. You know,
He was disruptive today. I tell you that.
10 points, 13 rebounds. He bothers guys with his length because you're looking at a 6'8", 6'8" 4". This guy is really out there making it happen on the defensive end of the court, and he's not 50 years old. So as a Laker fan, that's pretty much a triple win for us. And we already talked about AD. I don't really need to talk about AD at all, to be honest. The Who else we got? Troy Brown, Beasley. They actually can make threes, so that was fun. Again, as I mentioned earlier, just all around a better team than what we've seen in the past. Guys are actually contributing and making plays. So again, it was really good to see them get that win today. Sorry, B, my bad.
Hey, just enjoy it.
Yeah,
Enjoy
I'm
your
not trying to
playing
hate.
tournament. Hopefully, you guys won't have Patrick Beverly crying after a playing tournament win.
Man, Patrick
So
Beverly
you guys
can
have that.
kiss my butt. Patrick
The
Beverly.
Black Vanguard says the next age Alex Caruso, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
is in comparison to Austin Reeves,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the hell his
Well,
name is.
yeah, pretty much kind of similar type of player. I would say Austin Reeves is a much better offensive player. Caruso, he really couldn't handle the ball much. They have Reeves running a point guard sometimes. I mean, so it's definitely a different
Well,
feel.
you guys need a point guard. You don't have
Yeah,
one.
exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, but I probably couldn't ask Caruso to do that. But man, yeah, man, it's always good. It's fun to see a team that actually is trying to win. Because I'm sorry, B, you don't understand what it was like watching that Russell Westbrook team. You don't understand, bro. I mean, it was bad. Like it was really,
I didn't have to
really
watch it.
bad.
Sports Center provided me
You know,
everything
oh,
I
so you
needed
saw
for
the
that.
air ball and layups, and I remember he shot the ball one time. It hit the backboard and nothing else. And I mean, man, it was bad. Thank you, Clippers. Thank you. We appreciate your service. Not to bang on Russell Westbrook, but ever since he's been with the Clippers, they've been sliding down the standings. The hope is that he will
You
continue.
want to bag on him so badly. Don't
The
even lie
Clippers,
about that.
yes, definitely the Clippers because they're dumb, they're stupid, and
There it is.
they're the little sister down the hall. What are they doing? I don't understand why are they even there? Shouldn't they move to
Uh,
San Diego or something? Isn't there a city, Bakersfield, Orange County? Somebody adopt this orphan child that plays in the Lakers arena, please.
I miss those. I miss those rants about the Clippers. um, we haven't had a chance to cover this in a while, but UFC 285 was on last night, and it was the return of John Bones Jones, who's looking a little fat to say the least there, because he wanted to move up to the heavyweight, and he took on the French native, I should say, Cyril Gagne, and it all took all but 40 seconds in this fight to choke his ass out. Um, Taj, I don't know how familiar you are with the UFC here.
Dude,
Um,
I'm not, man. I didn't get a chance to really kind of take on and see that, but I've heard of John Jones before.
Now, John Jones has had quite the
How
quite the
old
resume
is
over
this
the last
guy?
few years. I think still in his 20s, or he could be in his 30s now. I'm not 100%. But let's just put it like this: the man has been busted with cocaine the night before his UFC event. He's been out partying out too damn late. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about the goats of every industry here, and this is one of them here. When right, John Jones is one of the baddest men on the planet here. And for a guy to jump up into the heavyweight ranks for the first time and to win the vacant belt, would just speak volumes. So if you get the chance, check out some John Jones highlights here. The dude is an absolute machine inside of the octagon here. And one of the biggest upsets last night, in a betting perspective, I'll put it like this: when anytime the fighter is a plus, it's never a good sign. That means they're projected to lose. Alexa Grasso was plus 583 to beat Valentin Shevchenko. I can't pronounce her damn name. She's Russian. Valentin
Oh,
Shevchenko.
it's the woman. The women
Dude,
fight.
this woman is badass here, dude. Valentine basically, dude, she's got an AK rifle tattooed right here, right on the side of her stomach, man.
She's
Like
Russian, I take.
what gave that away? One of the baddest women on the planet. There, probably she was right. She was getting ready to compete with Amanda Nunez as being the greatest of all time in the women's division. And I always tell people this anytime a fighter goes through a long winning streak, they generally don't taste their own blood. When the fighter has to taste their own blood for the first time, and this goes for boxing as well. When guys get on hot streaks, it's because they're very dominant in the ring, right? Their craft is off the charts. It's when you get hit, it's when you taste blood for the first time that is yours, is when you get rocked. And unfortunately, Valentine get rocked. She did get rocked. Another submission in the fourth round here. It was all in all, it was a good event here. I'm trying to stay on top of my UFC events here. It's a lot more entertaining than what boxing's been giving us. I'll tell you that, because
Yeah, there's nothing to
you can't
watch, man.
script the UFC fight. As my dad would say last night when he was watching it, there are no rules, but there are rules. You can't be kicking dudes in the nuts. Can't be poking their eyes out. Can't be doing none of that there.
Right. Let's see.
But
Come on. Sorry.
but it is a good. The UFC is definitely turning it on here. So there's a lot of good events coming up here. My boy Max Holloway will be fighting on UFC Fight Night in April, I think. So I'll be looking forward to that there.
Sorry, folks. I'm over here trying to save the world. My son I keep having my charger stolen, and there's supposed to already be a charger here on my dock, but apparently it wasn't there. So now my computer's like, I'm gonna turn off on you if you don't do something in 10 seconds.
Hey
So,
man, remember I couldn't even get my computer to charge. Luckily, I got that thing to charge
yeah, man,
before our show
that's like
took
a
place.
bomb. Jeez.
Whoa! Can't say that in the
I mean,
air,
my bad. It's like a problem. How about that? An explosive problem.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well,
You got anything else off topic here? Anything cross your mind?
oh man, not really, man. Just gonna get ready, unfortunately, to go back to work tomorrow, and I gotta get caught up on The Last of Us because I've been watching that. And just I'm gonna eat a lot of cookies. My wife started making cookies, and we have a cookie
At
company.
least they're vegan.
Yeah, vegan
At least they're
cookies. So
vegan.
we got a lot of them just lying around. I got one right here. See that?
I
So
I got to try some.
I'll send you some, man. I got a lot of them. Let me
Bring
know.
him over, man. If you're vegan, I'll eat more than regular
There
ones.
you go. Right. I mean, there's still sugar in it, B. I mean, that part that part doesn't go away, but
What's the point?
you still got sugar.
But kudos to your wife, man. Shout out to her for doing
Uh,
that as well. And shout out to everyone who was in the chat today, man. Today
yeah,
was a good
man.
show. We
Absolutely.
really enjoyed it. For those who are watching and haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button for us. We are 3 away, folks, from getting to 100. It is the elusive 100
100.
Club. So we'd like to be a part of that,
That's right.
but we can't do it without you guys. So help us. Tell anyone. Create fake accounts. Create burner accounts. Do what you got to do.
Kevin
Get us
Durant.
to 100.
Kevin Durant's
Get
us
the
to
Kevin Durant
100.
accounts going. I don't care. But anyways, T, like I said to start the show, if there's a loved one in your life that you don't say I love you to, and you don't get the chance that often, I highly recommend to do so, just because you don't know when that last time is going to come before you can say before you can't say it anymore. So,
Absolutely, man.
like I said, this show was dedicated to my grandmother, who did pass away on Monday here. So, you know, if there's anything I could just share to the world here outside of all of our banter, all of our sports talk, and everything that we do is say I love you to the loved ones, because you don't know when that last time is going to come, and it's not a gamble you want to take.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Well said. Well said, man. Well said.
Yes, sir. Oh, DH, love you, B. Hey, love you too, man. Good to see you. Too bad we caught you towards the end of it. Um, but yeah, other than that, hopefully the John Morant saga continues on. I hope to see him suspended for the rest of the year.
Yep.
I don't know about you,
Yeah.
because
Well.
the Warriors and Grizzlies got a nice little matchup coming up this week. I
Yeah.
cannot wait. I
There it
cannot
goes.
wait.
Is Dylan going to be back for that one? Dylan Brooks.
He is, yeah. He's serving his 1 game suspension
All
already,
right.
so he'll be back for that.
There you go, man. You can just
I
completely
honestly,
obliterate their team.
Draymond just needs to get that over with, because he's at 15 right now. So just get it over with and just get the suspension now.
Yeah,
Like,
before
don't
the
even waste
playoffs.
time
You
with
got
it,
that
man.
right. Come on. Get it done. Get
Jesus,
her done.
get her done.
All right, folks. Well, that's all from us. Until next Sunday, we'll see you. And again, reach out to that loved one, like B say. Say we love you and thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good one, everyone.
All right. Peace.
Good.